Khamzat rematch is ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, if they do it, it's ridiculous. It will be crazy. But I mean, let them do what they need to do. I'll just fight my way back to after my performance. Let my performance speak. Khamzat would be the preference, but it's about being the champion. I'm not chasing people.
I'm pursuing greatness and trying to prove I'm the best. Dricus Du Plessis has dismissed the possibility of Khamzat Chimaev receiving an immediate rematch while Sean Strickland remains in the championship discussion, arguing that he should be the first man granted another title opportunity. Du Plessis wants the chance to avenge his defeat against Khamzat, but he insists the Chechen fighter should not be handed another championship matchup without first earning his way back through the middleweight contender rankings.
Do you have a preference, Khamzat or Sean, for the title? Khamzat, you get to avenge that loss. Sean, you'd fight him again, beat him again.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Khamzat would be the preference. Khamzat would be the preference, but it's about being the champion. I'm not chasing people. I'm chasing being the best. Khamzat, I'll get him. If he goes up, eventually I'll get him there. But if he becomes champion, I would prefer to fight him and get that win back. But it's not something that I'm set on. It's not something that I'm set on. I hope he wins. So, but he doesn't deserve.
Turning his attention to the upcoming contest, Du Plessis revealed that the agreement to fight Kamaru Usman was not completed until approximately 4 weeks before the UFC publicly confirmed the matchup. Although negotiations took longer than expected, Dricus said he never interpreted the delay as Usman attempting to avoid him. He believes the holdup was probably caused by contractual discussions behind the scenes, and he continued training for the former welterweight champion throughout the process because he always expected the fight to happen.
Happened 4 weeks. We got confirmation 4 weeks before the fight, but I mean...
So you're training for him, but you're like, I actually don't know.
I actually didn't know. When just before the announcement, me and my coach spoke, and I went like, okay, we don't know what's going on. Like they said, okay, that's what we want to do. And where's the contract? And I said, well, when are you announcing what's happening? And they just said he didn't sign. He hasn't signed yet. I don't think it's him being scared. Not at all. I don't think it was that. I think he was waiting for maybe a better route, just in terms of styles. And also waiting. I have no idea. That's just speculation.
So weird.
I don't know. I mean, it feels like a short notice fight, but I've known about this fight for 10 weeks.
There may still be uncertainty surrounding certain parts of this matchup. But one thing is clear. Kamaru Usman is relying heavily on the experience he has accumulated throughout his championship career. After spending countless years training with world-class athletes representing virtually every fighting style imaginable, Usman believes that knowledge provides him with a major advantage. He is now attempting to accomplish something only a select group of UFC fighters have achieved by capturing championship gold in 2 separate weight divisions.
The winner of this fight is fighting for the 185-pound title. Dricus, he's different. Winning by piano falling. How do you deal and find the training partners to give you that same freaking look?
Been in the game for a while. The Black Zillions were just so many guys. Weight classes, different styles that I grew up. Been around the block multiple times to where I understand it. I just got to use my experience.
So chasing something that's still a rarity, becoming a double champ.
July 18th, live in Oklahoma City. We're going to go out there and turn it out.
Discussing his tactical preparation, Dricus Du Plessis says he has devoted considerable time to preparing for Kamaru Usman's wrestling, and would actually welcome a grappling-heavy strategy from his opponent. Du Plessis believes the difficulties he experienced against Khamzat Chimaev were connected to Khamzat's unusual and highly specialized wrestling style, rather than evidence of a fundamental weakness in his own grappling. Because Usman presents a different type of challenge, Dricus is confident that he will respond far more effectively if the former champion repeatedly attacks takedowns.
Have you changed anything in your preparation for this? Because I'm guessing Kamaru is going to try and exploit what he thinks is a weakness after watching the Khamzat fight, blah, 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 blah. Do you change anything? And also, how do you see this fight playing out?
That's exactly what I'm hoping for, is him trying to do that exact thing. Because beating another striker, what does that do for me? I've beaten the best striker in Strickland. I've beaten the best striker in Adesanya. My last outing, the wrestling was a problem. So let's see.
Is it just that crucifix position you didn't drill as much, or what was it? I don't really get it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just it's a style thing. I mean, he just the way he moved, it's something that I haven't seen, haven't felt, and it wasn't a strength problem at all. It was just a way that he could get it to a place where we were static. There was no scramble, and that's what I was preparing for, because if you look at all these other fights, that exciting, let's go, going for a choke. He didn't go for one submission. And that was what we prepared for. And he was just like, cool, let's just lie and steal people's money.
Michael Bisping views Usman as an extremely serious threat, even though the former welterweight king is moving into the middleweight division, particularly now that he has been given enough time to complete a full training camp. Bisping recognizes that many fighters have successfully moved between weight classes, but he still gives Dricus Du Plessis a narrow advantage because of his suffocating pressure, damaging power, and difficult-to-read offensive style. However, he also warns that Usman carries enough force in his punches to reverse the momentum instantly, because both competitors possess legitimate finishing power.
Usman at 185 and having had a full camp, he's going to be very effective, okay? We've seen people jump up weight classes. We saw Alex Pereira trying to become a 3-weight division champion. So just that you go up a weight division doesn't mean you can't compete. And of course, this isn't 2-weight divisions. This is 1-weight division. So I think Usman's going to do great. He did great against Khamzat Chimaev, and that was on short notice. On the feet, I think I favoured Dricus Du Plessis. He's not as clean as Kamaru Usman, but with the chaotic style that he has and the power he has, that's why I kind of favour Dricus Du Plessis. But still, anything can happen in a fight. Just ask Jorge Masvidal, because Kamaru Usman...
Looking beyond the immediate matchup, Bisping believes defeating Du Plessis could propel Kamaru Usman directly into the middleweight championship conversation, even with several established contenders already waiting for their own opportunities. He argues that Usman's accomplishments, his long-standing relationship with the UFC, and the significance of an emphatic victory over DDP could persuade the promotion to fast-track him toward another title fight. One possible outcome could even involve Usman being matched against Sean Strickland again after their encounter many years ago.
Who do you think wins? And by the way, if Usman gets this done, does that put him in the title conversation? Because right now, Dricus Du Plessis is still the number 2 ranked middleweight. When's Sean Strickland going to fight again? We don't know. We know last time we saw him was at the White House running around, causing a ruckus.
He fucking made it!
He got arrested, I think. I don't know too much about it. I don't know the details. If you know anything about that, let me know. Nasruddin Imavov, of course, he's out there. He should be the next contender, but you never know. If Kamaru Usman comes in, he's got a great manager. He's highly respected by Dana White and the organization. He's had a tremendous body of work. If he can beat Dricus Du Plessis in style and make the right kind of statement on the microphone, you never know. It could be Kamaru Usman versus Sean Strickland, and that would also be a rematch. Remember, Usman beat Sean.
Israel Adesanya also identifies wrestling as Usman's most important weapon, though he acknowledges that Dricus Du Plessis is exceptionally difficult to prepare for because of his awkward footwork and unconventional striking patterns. Dricus often attacks from positions that appear technically unusual, making his timing and rhythm hard for opponents to anticipate. Even so, Adesanya believes Usman's elite takedown ability, extensive championship experience, and constant forward pressure could allow him to determine exactly where each phase of the contest takes place.
Kamaru just knows how to go. He knows how to he's like an engine. He just knows how to go. In this fight with DDP, the only thing I'd say Kamaru would have to watch out for would just be, wouldn't be the grappling, it would just be the awkward strikes, the way DDP strikes. His rhythm is not something that I think Kamaru might have seen before. But again, I think this is where Kamaru will be able to use his wrestling. I think superior wrestling, maybe superior grappling to take him down while DDP's focused on the striking.
Expanding on his prediction, Adesanya is backing Usman to defeat Du Plessis and points to Kamaru's competitive showing against Khamzat Chimaev on short notice as proof that he remains capable of challenging the best middleweights in the world. Demetrius Johnson holds a similar view and believes Usman could repeatedly bring Dricus to the canvas before maintaining prolonged control from the top position. Johnson even suggests that the accumulated damage and exhaustion created by that approach could eventually open the door for Usman to earn a stoppage late in the fight.
Like, brother, avenge me. But yeah, again, I think Kamaru is a guy, like I said, the common opponent is Khamzat, and he did that on short notice in a way that apart from Strickland, I can't see. The closest person to beating Khamzat was Kamaru.
Yeah.
next to Sean Strickland. And
Yeah.
I think that the wrestling aspect would be interesting to see how DDP comes back from that, because Khamzat made it look super easy with just shooting
Yeah.
over and over
Crucifix.
and securing the takedown. Yeah, crucifix over and over. And I think if Kamaru can do that, I think
Demetrius Johnson nevertheless recognizes that Du Plessis' strange, unpredictable style may be one of the most difficult puzzles in mixed martial arts. Dricus has repeatedly created problems for highly skilled strikers because his movement, timing, and offensive choices do not follow conventional patterns. Despite that danger, Johnson believes Usman's world-class wrestling, physical pressure, and ability to force exhausting exchanges could prevent DDP from establishing his preferred rhythm. By controlling the locations and pace of the contest, Kamaru could create a reliable route toward victory and potentially even finish Du Plessis.
I was always shocked by how awkward DDP, like when you fight him, I was like, Izzy's going to eat his ass up. Izzy's stand-up is so legit, precise, the high kick, everything where he's kind of, he slips on shit and takes people down.
It
where
works,
I'm like,
man.
there's
Like, for me, I was like,
I know it works.
I was up and I was doing well, but then somehow he stays ready. Like he will throw at you just to get you to react. Doesn't care if it lands. He just wants you to react, and then from there he can build off stuff. And the way he throws as well is just awkward. So it's not something I dealt with before, and it's a unique style. But again, I think Kamaru's wrestling, superior wrestling, I think, will be the differential in this fight.
The possibility of seeing DDP stopped makes this matchup especially intriguing, because Usman's route to victory appears to depend on whether he can maintain his pressure without allowing Dricus to create chaotic striking exchanges. Every successful takedown could make the next one easier, while every prolonged scramble could drain some of Du Plessis' explosiveness. At the same time, one mistake in open space could expose Usman to the middleweight's power, meaning the balance could shift dramatically during any exchange.
But I know that it's the main event next weekend.
Sean O'Malley and the MMA guru both believe this matchup may represent Kamaru Usman's final serious pursuit of UFC championship gold. In their view, a defeat against Dricus Du Plessis could leave retirement as the most realistic next step for the former welterweight champion. They point to Usman's age, the physical damage and injuries accumulated during his career, and the sense that this opportunity is one final attempt to reach another title fight. Even with those concerns, they recognize Usman as an exceptionally tough competitor who still carries dangerous punching power.
Bro, taking Khamzat on short notice, he'll fight anybody.
Dog.
This is a big fight for either of them. I mean, this is a must-win for both guys, I feel like. Maybe not for DDP as much, but Kamaru's, I think, let me see. Kamaru's 39. Kamaru's 39 years old. DDP's still 32, so he's still got a lot left in the tank. This is a must-win for Kamaru Usman.
If Usman loses, he's
Yeah.
probably going to retire, I would guess.
Yeah.
39, had his injuries, up there in age. I think he sees this as like one last push for a title. Like if he beats Dricus, he's right there in the mix. He can maybe shit talk Strickland a bit.
Oh, because they fought.
Chael Sonnen, however, believes considerably more is attached to Du Plessis versus Usman than most observers currently understand. He notes that Kamaru has been highly selective about accepting fights, which makes his willingness to enter a 5-round battle against such a dangerous middleweight particularly surprising. Sonnen suspects the UFC offered both men a meaningful incentive, most likely involving championship consequences. In his assessment, neither fighter would take this level of risk merely for another payday or an opportunity to remain active, raising the question of what each man may have been promised and how the fight will ultimately unfold.
Well, I mean, excuse me. You can't get a fight for Kamaru Usman. You got one fight for him in 2 years. You can't get him to agree to fight anybody. All of a sudden, he's going to leave his weight class, take on one of the nastiest mother effers you can find, and he's going to do it for 5 rounds. I don't believe you. Some kind of a deal was made. Some kind of a something was made between these guys. Dricus Du Plessis, who's got the jump not once but twice on Sean Strickland, and could be out banging that drum and demanding rematches, never did it once. He quietly signs a contract to go out to Oklahoma and fight Kamaru Usman. These guys were promised something. This fight is about something. I admit for you, I'm not privy yet as to what that is. I assume some type of title implications, but these guys are fighting for something, and it ain't fun and it ain't money. These are two real competitors.
Continuing that argument, Sonnen says DDP against Kamaru Usman carries many of the characteristics of a genuine super fight. Usman has competed only sparingly in recent years, so his decision to move into a heavier division and immediately challenge another former champion is far from ordinary. Sonnen does not believe a contest of this scale is arranged without an important prize waiting for the winner. From his perspective, both athletes are likely fighting for a reward much greater than simply adding one more victory to their professional records.
But I'm looking at these guys that would appear difficult to match up. I don't know that Kamaru's a pain in the ass, but he appears to be. He's as good as I'm telling you he is. He wants to fight, and he's only done it one time in close to 3 years. He must be difficult. There must be something that he wants. So now you're going to bring him out of his weight class, and you're going to put him against a former world champion. And that is as close to a super fight as it gets. A super fight, by definition, is the reigning champion of this division against the reigning champion of this division. Fine, but this is as close as it gets without being it. You have a former champion of this division and a former champion of this division. I mean, it's as close as you get to a super fight. This thing is huge. These boys are going to go off to Oklahoma and they're going to fight for 5 rounds. For what?
Examining the wider middleweight championship picture, Sonnen argues that Du Plessis should remain the division's leading contender after defeating Sean Strickland on 2 occasions. He does not believe Khamzat Chimaev alone explains why the title landscape has shifted, suggesting that the UFC may be developing larger plans that have not yet been announced. Sonnen predicts Strickland could instead be paired with Nassourdine Imavov, while proposing that this would be an ideal moment for the promotion to match Khamzat against Bo Nickel.
Sean Strickland has lost twice to Dricus. How are you going to tell me that Dricus is not the #1 contender for the belt being held by a guy that he beat not once but twice? And I don't believe that Dricus got thrown off course because of Chimaev. By the way, I think there's something else at play here. And the only way that it would be Dricus got thrown off course by Chimaev is Chimaev goes in and fights for the title against Strickland. But I don't think that's what you're going to get told. I think Chimaev is currently, I think he's the one without a chair in this game. I think Imanov is going to fight with Strickland. I think that for very good reason. But if Imanov does fight Strickland, what do you do with Chimaev, which I think right now is the perfect time to get Bo Nickel and Chimaev together? I think it might be your only time to get...
Jorge Masvidal believes Kamaru Usman has a straightforward route to victory if Du Plessis has not corrected the vulnerabilities exposed in his previous fight. Masvidal points specifically to Usman's wrestling, intelligent pressure, and ability to attack the body. He argues that Kamaru could repeatedly slip behind his jab, land damaging shots downstairs, reach Dricus's legs, and gradually exhaust him by repeating the same disciplined sequence. However, Masvidal also warns that DDP can produce something special if he has eliminated those openings, because he is naturally larger, possesses serious punching power, competes at his preferred weight, and may be significantly better than Usman in extended striking exchanges. Masvidal also praises Kamaru as one of the most intelligent fighters ever to enter the octagon, emphasizing that his decision-making and complete understanding of MMA remain at an elite level. For that reason, he believes Dricus could face a very difficult night if his wrestling and grappling defense have not improved substantially. The MMA guru similarly sees Du Plessis as potentially offering Usman the quickest road to a middleweight title opportunity. Because Kamaru previously defeated Sean Strickland and may feel encouraged by Khamzat Chimaev's grappling success against DDP, the guru expects him to pursue ground control. A major win over Du Plessis could allow Usman to move ahead of the crowded contender field and receive another championship fight.
World where Usman thinks, Chimaev held him down for 5 rounds. I'll be able to hold him down for 5 rounds. Du Plessis is open on the feet. He is an approachable, perceivably approachable fighter to defeat, And Usman thinks, this is his way straight to the top of the middleweight division. He has a win over Sean Strickland previously. This is a big legacy win for him as well. Dricus Du Plessis is top fighter, pound for pound. He's only lost to Chimaev in the UFC. That's his only loss. And Usman thinks if he gets one over on Dricus and can either hold him down for 5 rounds or catch him, then he's going to be able to just get that shot with Strickland and jump the queue at middleweight. And I could see the UFC doing something like that, honestly. I don't think they'll deny Imavov again.
Despite recognizing Usman's possible advantages, the MMA guru ultimately predicts that Dricus Du Plessis will win, identifying DDP's underappreciated kicking arsenal as the factor most likely to separate them. He expects Dricus to attack the body, legs and head throughout the contest, gradually reducing the mobility and effectiveness of the older former champion. Although the guru believes Usman should look sharper after completing a full preparation period, he expects Du Plessis' youth, durability, natural size, and varied striking offense to carry him to victory.
Dricus, I reckon, is going to win this one, to be honest with you. I think he's got really underrated kicks, really underrated low kicks. And I think that's a massive factor to beating Kamaru Usman. I like Dricus Du Plessis' body kicks, his head kicks. And I think against an older fighter like Usman, like an aging fighter, kicking up those forearms, the calves, the legs, you know, the body early on is a great way to break down an aging fighter. And Usman did look good against Khamzat Chimaev in the second and third round. Khamzat broke his hand in the first, but Usman took it on short notice. So this would be a good time to see Usman with a bit more of a training camp going into the middleweight division because they've known about this for a while. But I do think Dricus is going to win. He's young, Dricus Du Plessis, right?
From a preparation standpoint, Usman appears determined to address every possible detail as he pursues the goal of becoming a UFC champion in 2 divisions. Members of his team describe the training camp as exceptionally demanding, but they also say removing the punishing welterweight cut has transformed his physical condition. Without forcing his body down to 170 pounds, Kamaru has reportedly appeared stronger, healthier, and more energetic than he has in several years as he approaches the most important fight of his comeback attempt.
Single hard. Right. Double.
Usman's coach Trevor Whitman says the transition to middleweight has produced an enormous improvement throughout camp. According to Whitman, the process of reaching the welterweight limit had become increasingly brutal, and the fight against Buckley included one of the hardest weight cuts Kamaru had endured during his entire career. Now that Usman no longer has to place his body under that severe strain, Whitman says the former champion looks clearly bigger and healthier while performing at a noticeably higher level during training sessions.
Today's Monday. We hit the pace today. It was such a good workout. Mondays are brutal. They're a hard workout, but it's so cool to see Kamaru where he's at. You know, he was a former pound for pound for a long period of time, and the 170 became a really big struggle for us. It was really funny after his last fight with Buckley. The weight cut was really tough. We had it was probably one of the toughest weight cuts that I've endured as a coach. But he did the work, got the weight down. And then I went on a trip to Breckenridge afterwards, and I was watching videos from that camp, and then also from camps that we had before. And there was a night and day difference on Kamaru's size. And I was like, wow,
One recent training performance reportedly left the coaches stunned. To conclude the discussion, Henry Hooft identifies Usman's extraordinary work ethic as one of the central reasons behind everything he has accomplished. Hooft describes Kamaru as one of the most dependable and consistent athletes he has ever trained. Regularly arriving at the gym before the rest of the team, Usman remains active throughout the year, assists his teammates even when he has no fight scheduled, and carries the same relentless discipline into every training camp.
So that's the thing that I always say about people when they ask me about Kamaru, what is his strong things, his strong points and everything, and it's just his consistency is so out of this world. I think the only way you can say he's like a freak sometimes, the way he trains. He comes earlier than anybody else in our gym back in Florida too. So he spars the whole year round really. He comes to sparring while he not have a fight. Even when he have an injury, he helps Jason Jackson out. He helps a lot of our fighters out in the gym. He's always at the gym, he's always training. And then when he comes here for the rest of his camp and do the peaking and do everything that's more based on like the fight specific stuff.
That brings today's breakdown to an end. As fight night approaches, predictions remain divided over whether Dricus Du Plessis' non-stop pressure, size, and unpredictable offense will overcome Kamaru Usman's championship experience, tactical intelligence, and elite wrestling. Share your prediction for DDP versus Usman in the comments, then like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications so you never miss the latest MMA coverage.